Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts GARO RAIKOU version, which is an exclusive figure, and it's highly expensive. It's like 130 bucks, I think. And I have no idea. I mean, I guess the anime is called GARO, and I guess that's the name of the armor, and then there are different versions of the armor. I think that's what it is. But this thing is such a fantastically cool looking figure. I didn't even know it existed until my buddy sent it to me to review, and I'm like, hey, I need to look this up and see if I can buy one, because it looks that cool. So I'm pretty excited to show it to you guys. Even though it costs a whole bunch, you might deem it worthwhile, because it's really freaking cool. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 6.5 inches tall, which makes him just about 16.5 centimeters, right around there, pretty close. So he does have some definite size to him. He's a little bit bulky also. He's all armored up, and he's very metallic, which looks very cool. It's all gold and silver. And then there's some blacks and reds and things mixed in, and it's just a really, really cool looking character. I love it. And it has some actually fairly decent articulation despite being quite so bulky. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. As far as accessories go, we don't have a ton. We do have a really fantastic sword. The detail on this thing is just awesome. It's so cool. I love it. It's very, very nice. Then we, of course, have the 2 fist hands that come out in the package, 2 sword gripping hands, 2 style pose hands, and then 2 other style pose hands. So not a ton, but I think it's probably enough. As far as the articulation on this guy goes, the head is on a ball hinge. It can be a little tricky to pose around, but you know what? Maybe it's a double ball peg. I thought it was a ball hinge, but nope, it's a double ball peg, so that's good. It can be tricky to pose though, because it's kind of like a samurai helmet in that it has all the plate work in the back. This is on a ball peg to help it a little bit, this back piece, but it's still going to get in the way quite a bit on the sides. So just be aware as you're posing him, and you should be okay. It shouldn't be too bad. I've been able to pose it well enough, and I think that's okay. These guys are all hard plastic, so be aware of that. They could cause some scratching, so just be aware. And then for the shoulders, we have a ball peg. It works just like most of the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball figures. So we have a ball peg that goes into the torso with a little cap that hides that. And then we have our ball hinge on the outside. And the armor moves around. We'll talk about this issue in a second. The armor on the arm moves around well enough that you can raise the arm almost completely horizontally with no issue at all. And then, of course, you can rotate it around, and pretty good range. Like I said, considering how bulky the armor is, it works really well. You do have a bicep swivel down here. This inner piece of armor just kind of floats, so that'll get out of the way no problem. And then this one is on a really nice ball peg. Really good movement there. You have a double jointed elbow, which gives you really good range, almost 180, so that's awesome. And then you have your standard ball hinge wrists, and it works fine except for this kind of gauntlet piece, which does get in the way, of course, but there's nothing you can do about that. For the torso, we have a hinge and a ball peg in here, and the hinge allows him to lean forward and back, and then the ball peg would allow for the swivel and other little bits of leaning. However, the socket that this ball peg goes into is way too loose, and so every time you try to move it using that hinge, that ball peg just comes off. It pops off way too easily, so it can definitely be problematic if you're trying to pose him, and so it's really a big deal. You can lean him a little bit, but it will pop off as you're trying to pose him in any sort of dynamic way. It's very limited because of that. So the top torso, definitely problematic. Lower torso works pretty well given how bulky he is. He's got this piece going all the way around, but you can lean it forward and back, side to side, and then do pretty much all the rotation you need, so that's pretty good. These guys are fixed pieces. They're fairly soft, but they don't rotate, so don't try to do that or you're going to end up ripping them off. For the hips, we have our standard hinged ball pegs, so you can bring them forward and back, or I guess I should say up and down because that's what it is, but they're at an offset, so it's a little weird. They go forward and back actually a little bit instead of just straight up and down, but you do get good range out of them for the most part. You can get the legs out pretty far to the side, not full splits, but pretty close. These guys are just on little ball pegs, so they can pop off. They won't break or anything, so no worries there. And then you have your thigh swivel built. Well, there goes that. You have your thigh swivel built in, so you shouldn't have too much trouble posing the legs on this guy. The knees are definitely ugly. They're very, very ugly, but you do get really good range out of them. I imagine most people are kind of going to just pose him in a really cool standing up pose with the sword in his hand. That's what I would do. But if you need to, you can pose the knees about 45 before they get really ugly, and then they get really ugly. But you have the range if you want it. For the ankle, it's very limited due to the sculpt, but you have your ball hinge, so you can get a little bit of an ankle rocker out of it, and then you can lean it forward and back a little bit, not a ton. So yeah, there are definitely some limitations, but that's gonna happen on a figure that's all bulky and armory like this. But he just looks so cool with the metallic gold and the really cool sword and the really clean paintwork, all these nice little black details and red details and silver details. It's just such a cool figure. I have to say I recommend it. It's a really, really fun to look at, fun to hold, fun to pose, even though it's a little limited type of figure. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.